When I got engaged, my best friend at work jokingly announced at the office party, "Good luck surviving on her salary, maybe you can register for food stamps." Everyone roared as my face burned. I didn't respond. I just quietly took the job offer she had secretly been competing for, and when she realized I was now her new boss, she couldn't even look me in the eye without tearing up. I've been working at a mid-sized marketing agency in Minneapolis for almost a decade. We handle everything from retail campaigns to public outreach, and while the work can be chaotic, I've always been good at it. I've stayed in my lane, hit my goals, and kept my head down. Rachel and I started at the company around the same time. She was smart, talkative, always made people laugh. We clicked early on and quickly became known as a power duo in the office. We'd get coffee together, team up on client pitches, even bitch about the same coworkers. I trusted her. At least, I used to. The first time I noticed something off, it was subtle. A client complimented me in a meeting, and right after, Rachel made a joke about how I always got lucky with easy clients. I laughed it off, thinking she was just being funny. But then it kept happening. I'd mention an idea, and she'd interrupt with a better one. I'd get good feedback, and she'd brush past it. But then she'd text me memes at night or ask if I wanted to grab lunch the next day. It was like this twisted mix of friendship and competition I couldn't quite pin down. I still didn't think anything was seriously wrong until the day of my engagement party. When I got engaged to Scott, I didn't expect a parade. He's not rich, he's a paramedic, but he's steady, and we're building something real. My coworkers knew about it because I had told Rachel first. She acted excited, even helped plan a little surprise gathering at the office. Or so I thought. That Friday afternoon, they brought me into the break room. Balloons, cupcakes, music. Everyone was clapping and saying how happy they were for me. I was blushing, smiling, genuinely touched. Then Rachel raised her plastic cup and shouted over the music, "Good luck surviving on her salary, Scott. Maybe you two can register for food stamps." The room cracked up. People laughed. Some covered their mouths, like they knew it was messed up but didn't want to be the only one not laughing. I forced a smile. Pretended it didn't sting. But my face burned, and something inside me cracked. That wasn't a joke. That was meant to hurt. And what's worse, she waited for the moment everyone was watching. She made a choice. So I made one too. A few weeks before the party, there had been some buzz about a new leadership role opening up, Director of Client Strategy. It wasn't posted yet, but I heard it was in the works. Rachel had her eye on it hard. She'd been talking about it for months. Said she'd already spoken to upper management. Told me I should hold off applying because I wasn't really on the radar yet. I pretended to agree. But right after that party? I started preparing. I stayed late every night for a week. I pulled every client success, every campaign win, every KPI I'd hit. I wrote a full proposal on how I'd lead the department and where I'd take the team. I didn't tell a soul, not even Amanda in HR, who I was close with. 2 days after the job posted internally, I sent everything directly to our VP. He asked for a meeting. Quietly. Just me and him. Rachel was bragging about her upcoming interview in the break room, loudly, while making her third cup of coffee. She even joked to someone, "Guess I should start designing my new office." I just nodded and went back to my desk. What she didn't know was that I already had my interview, 2 days before hers. I never talked about it. I didn't even update my LinkedIn. I didn't want her or anyone else knowing until it was done. After her interview, she looked confident. Said it was basically a formality. She didn't even consider that someone else might be in the running. 3 days later, I got the call. "Hey, we want to offer you the director role. You up for it?" I didn't even hesitate. It was a Monday morning staff meeting. We were all in the main conference room. Rachel sat across the table from me, smiling like she always did, like nothing had happened. Then the VP stood up and said, "Before we start, I'd like to congratulate, my name, our new Director of Client Strategy." The silence hit first. Then claps. People looked surprised. Some smiled. Some didn't know what to say. I looked straight at Rachel. She blinked fast. Her smile collapsed. Her eyes welled up, and she looked down, scribbling something random in her notebook to avoid eye contact. Her hands were shaking. I didn't say a word. I just stood, nodded, and walked to the front to thank the VP. She didn't look up once. I didn't rub it in. I didn't call her out. I didn't tell anyone what she'd said at that party. But I also didn't forget. I managed the department with a clear line. Everyone was held accountable, including Rachel. She started slipping. Missed deadlines. Poor communication. Stuff I never saw before, but I documented it all. I gave her feedback. Set expectations. She tried to fake sick a few times. I didn't fall for it. Eventually, she stopped trying to challenge me in meetings. Her jokes dried up. Her energy changed. It was like the life had been drained out of her. 2 months in, she requested a transfer. She moved to another division. Lower pay, fewer responsibilities. She never looked me in the eye again. And the best part? I never raised my voice. Never got petty. I just did the job, the one she thought she deserved more than me. The one she laughed at me for even dreaming of. A few weeks after Rachel's transfer, I thought things would finally settle. The office was quieter without her jokes and backhanded comments. I started rebuilding trust with a few teammates who had always hovered between me and her, unsure of where to stand. I didn't care about popularity. I was focused on results. But just when I thought she was gone for good, Rachel found a way to crawl back into my life. It started with an email from HR. "Hey, can we chat? Something's come up we need to review with you." I assumed it was routine. Maybe some paperwork, maybe a new hire I had to onboard. It wasn't. When I sat down across from Amanda, she didn't smile. She opened a file and slid it across the table. "There's been a complaint," she said carefully. My stomach dropped. "About what?" "Allegations of a hostile work environment," she said. "Multiple instances. From someone in your department." I stared at her. "Rachel?" She didn't say yes. But she didn't have to. I flipped through the packet. It was detailed. Dates, quotes, even references to emails. None of it was true. Twisted pieces of things I'd said taken out of context, one-on-one performance reviews she claimed were retaliatory, normal deadlines she claimed were punitive. It was her. She was trying to get me fired. HR said they had to formally investigate, even though nothing was substantiated yet. I was put on a temporary hold from managing Rachel's former team members, just to keep things clean. It felt like a slap. For the next 2 weeks, I showed up, did my job, and kept my mouth shut. But I watched Rachel out of the corner of my eye, saw her smirk when she passed by my office, saw her whispering to one of the newer guys, probably trying to pull him into whatever game she was playing. I started to question everything. What if someone believed her lies? What if I lost the job I'd worked so hard for? What if she won, not the promotion, but the power? But then, something happened I didn't expect. Rachel got sloppy. It was a Thursday afternoon when Amanda from HR called me back in. This time, she looked different. More relaxed. She slid her laptop around and hit play on a recording. It was Rachel. She was at a bar, drunk, talking to another employee, one who had quietly brought the recording to HR after getting uncomfortable with what he heard. She thought she could just take the job, Rachel slurred. So I'm going to make her wish she never walked through those doors. More laughter. Then, I've got people backing me up. She'll be gone in a month. I sat in silence, jaw locked. Amanda just said, "We're handling it." Rachel was gone by the end of the week. No announcement. No goodbye. Just an empty desk and a quiet office. I never got an apology. What I got instead was something better: respect. From people who had doubted me. From coworkers who had laughed at her joke that day and now looked at me like they finally understood who I really was. Not a victim. Not even a survivor. Just someone who stayed standing when someone tried to burn it all down. Rachel's desk was empty, and her nameplate was gone, but something didn't sit right with me. The way HR had rushed the whole process. The way Amanda had shown me that recording, like she was doing me a favor. Something felt off. A week after Rachel was terminated, I got an email from the employee who had made the recording, Mark. He asked if we could grab coffee. I agreed. We met at a quiet place a few blocks from the office. Mark looked nervous, like someone watching their back. "I wanted to tell you something," he said, stirring his coffee without drinking it. "I didn't plan to record Rachel. I didn't even know it was recording." "What do you mean?" "My phone. It was in my pocket. It auto-records calls and voice memos. I didn't realize it had picked that up until I was reviewing my storage later. I wasn't trying to help you. I wasn't trying to help her either." I blinked. "So, you just stumbled on it?" "Yeah. And honestly, I wasn't going to give it to HR. But Amanda called me in. She said if I didn't cooperate, I'd be in trouble too." I sat back. Now I knew. Amanda hadn't shown me the recording to help me. She used it to protect herself and the company. Because if Rachel had gone down for filing a false complaint, and someone like me had been wrongfully suspended or fired because of it, HR would have had a major lawsuit on their hands. That recording wasn't a favor. It was damage control. And Amanda didn't want me talking to anyone about it. I started looking closer at the HR files I still had access to. Nothing direct, but I found an email thread between Amanda and Rachel from months earlier, way before the complaint. They were closer than I realized. After-work drinks. Inside jokes. Then, a line from Amanda, "Just hang in there until we can get this restructure approved, don't blow up anything yet." This was before the promotion. Before the party. Before everything blew up. I printed the emails. Stored them safely. Because now it was clear, Amanda had known Rachel was planning something. She just didn't think it would turn into a wildfire. I wasn't going to HR about it. No. This time, I was going higher. I spent the next week quietly collecting everything. Not just the emails, but old messages from Rachel where she mentioned Amanda helping her behind the scenes. Slack chats. Calendar invites. Notes. I pulled it all together. I didn't speak to Amanda unless I had to. And when I did, I made sure to keep my face blank and my words dry. I wasn't going to let her see it coming. Instead of going to HR, I went straight to the top, the COO. Not the CEO, not the VP. The COO was the one person who cared more about lawsuits and public image than office politics. I walked into her office with a folder and said, "I think you should see this. And I think we need to talk before this becomes something bigger." She read everything in silence. Then looked up and said, "Give me a day." The next morning, Amanda wasn't at her desk. By noon, her company profile was taken off the website. By end of week, we had an all-staff meeting where they announced leadership changes in HR. They didn't name names. They never do. But everyone noticed the shift. And word got around. Rachel had been one thing: petty, jealous, cruel. But Amanda? She was the rod underneath. She had let Rachel spiral, thinking she could use her. Let her file a false complaint. Tried to bury it all until it blew up. And now they were both gone. Here's the part one never told anyone. I almost didn't apply for that job in the first place. Rachel's joke at my engagement party? It crushed me. Not just because of the words, but because I realized how little people thought of me. I went home that night and cried in Scott's arms, asking him if I was really good enough. If I was just fooling myself. He said, "You're not just good enough. You're better than all of them. They just don't know it yet." That's what pushed me. Not hate. Not revenge. Not at first. But the truth is, once I saw what Rachel was willing to do, and how Amanda tried to cover for her, something in me changed. I stopped doubting myself. I stopped apologizing. And I started fighting smart. I took the job. I exposed the liars. And I made damn sure they'd never do it to someone else again. Rachel's gone. Amanda's gone. The department runs better than it ever has. People say I'm a fair boss, tough, but fair. And when new hires ask about what happened to the old HR manager or that other loud woman who used to sit near the window, people just say, they crossed the wrong one. I never wanted a fight. But when they gave me one, I made sure I was the last one standing. And I am.